For tonight's running of the Highline Racing League, we didn't quite know where exactly we'd end up until we went racing. The drivers have decided, and it looks like for our wild card event, we've made our way through now, and it's about time we head back to a fan favorite. Welcome to the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. This is the Westlake Royal Building Products Premier Series, and live on FTN, we are just less than 5 minutes away from beginning the Highline Racing League Wild Card Race for Season 19. Welcome back live on FTN Broadcasting. After taking a week to step back, we've returned and we're continuing the regular season with more action. It's Race 6 on the year. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. Currently, it appears that we have more than 20 drivers registered, and it looks like just over 25 as it stands. Scott Wheeler going to find himself with the provisional pole after his first lap. Season 14 champion, bringing it back where that season began. Here comes the 97 down the back straightaway. He's looking for his second and final lap, as most drivers have at least started their first and are now looking toward that final run. Looks like now all but two drivers on the circuit. Those two would be Sean Billman and Jason Harris. Everyone else has made their way through. Number 97 of Wheeler going to come across the line. That's that Ford Mustang, and it looks like for the top of the board, he'll take back his spot. 0.08 of a second up on the 51 of Joshua Sim. Adam Bazzi now finds himself in fourth. Dylan Poteet gets ahead by just a single thousandth of a second, and Lucas Lodato going to find himself P5. Scott Zellner getting on the way in that number 2. His Ford Mustang has been so close to win number 20 this season with podium finishes and top 5 finishes galore. Zellner gets it up to the top of the board by a single thousandth of a second. Just ahead, looks like, of his teammate and Scott Wheeler. The Flying Scotsmen are to the points. You'll have Tyler Hampton now running in 7th place, and Sebastian Miller goes P6. Hampton in the Valvoline red, white, and blue machine. Same sponsor, looking a little bit different, and a nice paint scheme to add as Hampton gets things going. After a week off, Tyler's looking for victory lane again, and why not bring some new colors? Matt Mirror, 12th place as it stands. It looks like he is already done with his run, and at best he'll remain in the top dozen. Jim Fott, 16th place right now. Fought, Hampton's teammate, sees Tyler surge up to 7th on that first lap. And at the line again for Tyler, this is going to be a 40.792. That is good for 6th. He'll gain one more spot. Jim Fought, 16th place now. And here comes the number 21. Jason Harris and Sean Billman, the drivers we were waiting on, are now on the track, and they're concluding their first laps. 41.06 for Harris gets him up to 17th. Sean Billman, it looks like now he'll be the final driver to put one on the board, and it'll be a 27-driver field here in Fontana. Jason looks like he has just enough time to put one more lap down. For Sean Billman, it's going to be close, but it looks like this lap will be his one and only. At the line for Billman, it looks like just not enough time to go for a second. 41.048 is good for 18th, just ahead of Kenny Brooks by within 1,000th of a second. Jason Harris will conclude his qualifying run. He'll be the final driver to set a time. It's a 40.912. Quicker, and that will be good for 12th place, so Harris making it a little bit further up. Not at all a bad run there for Jason, and the number 88 now finds itself just outside the top 10. Nevertheless, teammates for the Four Horsemen Brigade find themselves up to the top of the board, and those, of course, will be Scott Zellner and Scott Wheeler, your top drivers. Positions 1 and 2, the Flying Scotsmen. 100 laps on the table here from Fontana. Very recently, NASCAR unfortunately announced that the plans to redevelop the Auto Club Speedway have been officially put to a halt. As a result, what you're seeing here in the virtual landscape of Fontana, California is absolutely all we have left. There's no guarantee of a physical remnant remaining, and so iRacing and all simulator platforms have allowed for this wonderful recreation to exist of the iconic 2-mile circuit. Tonight, we go racing once again here in Fontana, in large part because the drivers have enjoyed it, but so too have the fans over its more than 25 years of existence. The California Speedway, the Auto Club Speedway, however you'd like to call it, is back on the menu tonight, and the field who know it so well are ready to bring it to justice. Results for qualifying, of course, go as follows. Scott Zellner grabbing the pole position inside of row number 1, and with him it'll be second place Scott Wheeler. Teammates taking the top 2 spaces. Then from there you'll have Joshua Sim in 3rd, Dylan Poteet in 4th, and Adam Bozzi rounding out the top 5 and qualifying. Your 3rd, 4th, and 5th drivers separated only by 3 1/1000ths of a second. Tyler Hampton goes P6. Sebastian Miller goes 7th, with Lucas Lodato 8th, Corey Blevins 9th, and Roberto Ramirez then in 10th place. Chad Winstead 11th and Jason Harris 12th, with Matt Muir 13th, Ty Smith 14th, and Caleb Morrissey rounding out the top 15. Looks like Smith and Caleb Morrissey tying with the same time, a 40.99 on the dot. Connor Holman going to have himself immediately after. Connor tonight starting in the 16th position. 17th place is going to be Jim Font in the 21. Sean Billman is in 18th. Kenny Brooks and Terry Brooks line up alongside one another, 19th and 20th. Your final drivers on the field go as follows, with Ryan Potter then running in 21st. Jacob Hom will be 22nd, with Dalton Beer 23rd. P24, Dawson Buchanan, Mackie Rodriguez in P25, and Andrew Baker goes 26th. Your 27th and final driver on the day, Colton Gardner. Buchanan, after a big victory in the Stadium Scene TV Dash Series, collecting the checkered flag and the championship in Texas, looking to keep the good times rolling as the field of 27 gets to the start-finish line. The Flying Scotsmen of Wheeler and Zellner have the front row, and the 19-time race winner has your pole position as we are set to go green here in Fontana. Zellner low, Wheeler up top. It's about time we go racing again. 100 laps from Auto Club Speedway. As the field comes through turns 3 and 4, we've been here many a time previously. Now's to see who's got it best in the Gen 6 era. Zellner eyes his 20th career victory. Wheeler looks for a resurgence to the top spot. Green flags out as we get things going in California. Scott Zellner and Scott Wheeler bring the field up to speed. Scott Zellner has himself race leader. Joshua Sim going to now run in second place. And as it stands, it's going to be side by side and making it 3 wide for the 3rd position. Dylan Poteet surges up high. Poteet in the number 31 machine, that Caterpillar Toyota, drops down to the bottom. It looks like he's sitting pretty already to make some big gains. Often a shorter track specialist, and he's got an opportunity now perhaps to get it up to the race lead early. Zellner to the point, across the line. He's got the race lead, and he's going to hang on to it for lap 3. But look out already, Poteet is looking to make his way in. Here comes the number 31, and he's going to surge down to the bottom side. That's for the top spot. Scott Zellner now runs in second. Dylan Poteet gets himself the race lead. Adam Bozzi in the number 27 now has himself running in the top 5. He's going to get himself up to his highest third real quick. Lucas Lodato, already a 3-time winner this season. It's almost been, to this point, a Swamp Motorsports sweep. That came to a close last time we went racing, of course. DJ Stagner was also close to coming to victory and ended up on a wrecker on the final lap. Tyler Hampton was able to sweep away, and although the Swamp is gone for 4 of 5 victories so far, they're looking to make it 5 of 6. But so quickly, you'll see Queen City Racing getting up top. Adam Bozzi now has himself the advantage, and Scott Zellner is going to decide to drop to the low side here. 100 laps on the day, giving it about 200 miles of racing from beginning to end. This is a track we're rather familiar with here in the Highline Racing League. I think perhaps that's going to call for some extra laps to be put on, as drivers know pretty well how to manage this circuit. A lot of grooves, a lot of opportunities. 3 wide at the line. There's Kenny Brooks with Corey Blevins, Matthew Rodriguez, and Jim Fott. Still going to be 3 or 4 abreast across the entire circuit. Matt Muir in that number 70, he keeps himself all the way up top here, and every groove is applicable in Auto Club. That is something you see almost nowhere else. All throughout racing. Michigan is similar because they have the same style of track, of course, a 2-mile speedway, but otherwise, tracks like Auto Club in Michigan are that real exception. Even if it's not a super speedway style track where you're always on the throttle, you can use any groove. The high side will not cost you time, the low side won't get you away from those who work the top, and the pack becomes that much more important. Number 2 of Zellner gets himself up to the lead of that pack once again, surging down low, and it's going to be a crossover move with the number 27 of Adam Bozzi. Here comes Bozzi looking to the inside. Lucas Lodato stays in third, and for the Swamp Motorsports Brigade, their top driver of the year is once again working in the podium. Scott Wheeler is going to get himself a little bit further behind. He drops back into 4th. Still going to be running in the top 5, yes, but at the same time, he drops 2 positions to this point. Now Tyler Hampton looking for an entry to the bottom of the groove into turns 1 and 2. Scott Zellner decides to block. Hampton's going to stay at speed, and it'll be 4 drivers going for those top 4 spots in a different order again. Zellner down the back straightaway, letting Adam Bozzi live up on the top side. Take a ride on board now with multi-time race winner Lucas Lodato and see what's going on in the thick of the battle. Lodato staying up high here. He's boxed out. There's really little he can do with respect to getting down and in. 8 laps in out of 100. It looks like for the time being, as long as Lucas works up there and makes sure he doesn't make contact with the inside line, he'll have Adam Bozzi to trust on the ways out, and that's going to cause him, I think, just enough of a good shot to take the lead of his groove. Lodato now going to be clear for 2nd place. Lucas is going to be ahead. Then you got Scott Wheeler going for 3rd with his teammate in Zellner. The 4 horsemen tonight are looking to bring a strong brigade. You've got a little bit further back, Caleb Morrissey in the number 6. He's getting himself up into the top 10 battle here, where it is double file and stacked thick from 3rd place all the way back. Kenny Brooks, Jim Fott, guys of the like, all working with each other here, and they are tightened up. The channel lock number 6 of Morrissey sees 1 drop down. I believe that was Ryan Potter who got away from it, but a little bit further back, you saw contact, and it looks like 1 slides. Looking a little bit further back, Sean Billman in the wall ever so slightly. Andrew Baker getting through in the 33. He'll go down to the bottom, making a pass now on the 44 of Jacob Hom. Smoke billows ever so slightly now as 1 went into pit road, and the rest of the field will get away. Roberto Ramirez in the 41 finds himself running 27th and last as it stands, and now we got some fan support in the chat for Dalton Beer. Dalton running 17th as it stands. And we mentioned 1 driver sliding, and that's the man in the 81. Connor Holden went around for a slip, and he finds himself outside the top 10 battle. He was previously running as high as 9th. Now it appears he is running about 18th, so he's dropped 9 positions from the last lap. Luckily, it looks like he's got enough pace now to fight once again. He'll go down to the inside on Dalton and continue the battle to get back on up. So far, Holden and the entire Swamp Squad have had an amazing start to the season. In these opening 10 laps, although he's been on the negative route, he's already gotten himself a podium on the season, backing up Lucas Lodato's opening win. And while Connor has not yet gotten to victory lane, a top 5 at Pocono cemented that he could make things happen even with a poor starting position. That's the mentality you have to have. Maybe you're not the quickest driver and you don't get in that perfect scenario all the time, but if you can work with grit, and yes, that 81 was damaged, and that determination, you can make it anywhere in this field if you work hard enough at it. Adam Bazzi sees Lucas Lodato taking the race lead now, and it's once again Lodato's race as the field crosses the stripe. Lucas holds an advantage. Adam Bazzi's going to be now back to third place. Scott Zellner looks to the inside here, and this is the battle for the lead again, toe-to-toe. 3 wide with Wheeler, Bazzi, and Hampton. Tyler Hampton's on the bottom. I think that's going to compromise his lane, and he's going to be the one driver that gives up the most. He'll give up 2 positions. Bazzi looks like he gives up 1. I think Scott Wheeler gets away the best of all, and he's still in third here. Although Adam Bazzi again lunges, makes contact, wiggles 3 wide. Adam Bazzi gets sent down the order, and the 27 quickly makes a mistake that drops him down to 12th. And he's still losing time. Connor Holden now with a shot in the arm to surge in the top 10, but Bazzi goes from 3rd to 12th in about 15 seconds. He's riding the wall with Dalton Beer behind. Bad news now for Adam Bazzi, and to add insult to injury, he's only losing more positions. Now down to 15th. Just a lap ago was running as high as 3rd, and it looks like that's a drop of 12 spots in about a minute. Lucas Lodato stays ahead, and just like that, it's going to be Lodato, Zellner, Wheeler again fighting each other for the lead. The Flying Scotsman run 1st and 3rd. Lucas Lodato is in 2nd place. Dylan Poteet is going to find himself 4th. Sebastian Miller is in 5th. Seb Miller right now in the 83. It looks like tonight carrying the banner for the Swamp. DJ Stagner, if you've noticed anyway, he's not in this race. He finds himself outside the cockpit tonight. Ryan Potter is going to be running in 20th, and of course he hopes to avoid all the misfortune we've seen from him many a time, and it's always about finding himself in the wrong place. Connor Holden and Ty Smith also doing a solid job so far, but Miller is up to P5. Seb is still yet to get himself a victory here in the 83 in the Highline Racing League. And that's something that he's been working towards season after season, year after year, as we've been seeing him both in the Integrity Racing League and the Highline Racing League all the same. He's gotten close, and he's made some real good performances, but I think he's been a little bit weaker in the Highline Racing League than he has Integrity. So we'll find out whether or not he's got what it takes tonight. He's up to 3rd place. That's the highest spot he's running all night long. Miller toe-to-toe again with Scott Wheeler. And Zellner has himself the edge. Dylan Poteet back to 2nd. Poteet's been shuffling up and down, and this top 10 has really been a revolving door of prospects for the race lead. Here's one that just got himself at least a foot in the door. It's Caleb Morrissey. Morrissey now finds himself up into 9th place. He's looking to surge as high as 8th. Close there to Lucas Lodato, but luckily no contact, and that's the type of racing that Morrissey needs to continue making gains. Caleb, again, maybe not the strongest when it comes to qualifying. Qualified 15th position anyway. And it looks like now the number 6 has gotten himself up a total of 8 positions. Gaining 8 so far, the channel lock number 6 is continuing his rise. We'll see how much further he can take it, but the Jonestown Jet finds himself about halfway through his journey to get up to the top position. Lucas Lodato in the 7 here. He finds himself down to the bottom side. And that Chevrolet Camaro looking low exclusively on Matt Muir. Can't quite go all the way down to the bottom, but he looks a little bit lower than the wall. Matt Muir has found himself stuck to the ceiling so far today. It's done him pretty good. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that's been the mindset so far for Muir, and it's gotten him up inside of the top 5 conversation. Still double file, even as high as position number 3, Joshua Sim and Dylan Poteet. Unfortunately for Joshua Sim, we know he's a well-acclaimed sim racing driver. We've seen him in many a series. However, in the Highline Racing League, I think his most notable moment so far was that spin around the grass in Daytona. Tonight, of course, is a great chance to right the wrongs and bring new life into the 51 team as we head toward the second half of our season. The opening 5 races, of course, set the tone for who's really one to watch. I think we got one name really circled down in Lucas Lodato, but you got to watch out for Joshua Sim. I think he's one of those guys who wants to turn a new leaf and really make the most of what is yet to come. And why not go for it today? The 51 of Sim finds himself now running in 9th, and for Jim Fott, 15th place. Gaping Ginger, thank you for stopping by and bringing some support. 19 laps in out of 100. Jim Fott side by side with Matthew Rodriguez and Kenny Brooks alike. 3-wide racing is rather common at a track that brings you up to 5 grooves. Don't be surprised if we see 3 or 4 wide in a more consistent manner. I think it's really only just beginning. You're looking right now, of course, at a 3-wide pass. Again, here comes Chad Winstead in the number 60. Winstead has been quiet so far in the opening portion of this race. 13th currently, started 11th, as high as 9th, as low as 19th. To put it simply, it's not the typical Chad Winstead day of getting up front and immediately staying up there. It could change, but right now, I think it's going to be all about the long haul. Winstead is in the draft, and that's all he needs to be in right now when it comes to making successive motions. Progression is gradual. It's not always linear, and in a night like this where anyone can be fast, it takes that special someone to break away. Chad is still lying back and waiting while the leaders contend against one another. In regards to strategy, so far, ambient temperatures coming in at 78 degrees Fahrenheit, track temp is coming in at 100 degrees, and the winds are going to be westbound ever so slightly. Humidity of about 30% and a clear sky, which means that the tires are going to slicken up as the night progresses, a little bit more so than I think drivers would like to see. Fuel cell tonight will not be limited, but we do have one restriction which might hinder drivers and their strike. Caution! Jim Fott goes around in number 21. First of the day, Jim Fott goes spinning. And here's a look back. Jim Fott was on the bottom of the circuit as we go into turns 1 and 2, and the incident occurs down the back straightaway. And you can see now, exiting turn 2, brief contact there with Kenny Brooks and the 24 of Blevins. We'll bring you back one more angle. That wasn't the best of them, of course, and this could show you a little bit clearer what happened with the 21. Jim Fott down low, and that's where we saw him previously. 2 wide, if not 3 wide, and maybe even briefly 4 apiece with Connor Holden. See here? Coming up the track, Blevins got loose, and then Kenny Brooks met Jim Fott. And so the 21 hooks up the track, that's contact, and the 81 of Holden goes sliding. Yellow flags out. Jim Fott, evidently, he gets the worst of it as we have our first yellow flag of the day. Expecting the field to come down to pit road here, and led by Scott Zellner, that they will. Here comes the number 2. Seb Miller going to be second. Third is Dylan Poteet. Scott Wheeler fourth. Lucas Lodato is in 5th. All of which come as once now. And it looks like it's going to be 4 tires and fuel. Track is going to be largely empty. The only driver taking it through turns 1 and 2, the iRacing official pace car. 23 laps in out of 100. And it looks like Zellner with the advantage on the exit with that number 1 pit stall, and it'll be used well. It'll be Zellner, then Poteet, Wheeler, Lodato, Morrissey, Jason Harris, and after him, Matt Muir, Joshua Sim, and you'll see Sebastian Miller. Chad Winstead ends the top 10. Scott Zellner finding himself race leader again. Getting off a pit road strong, will restart at lap number 25 here. Poteet will be in second, Wheeler will be third, and then you'll have Lucas Lodato up to P4. Lodato, so far, he's already put in a full season's worth of statistics in only 5 races with 3 victories and 4 podium places. Lucas Lodato has been the man of the season and the only other driver who we saw win before, of course, DJ Stagner wrecked in Bristol was the 64 himself. The Swamp has been the undeniable force and engine behind the program so far in the entirety of the Highline Racing League. They've adapted best and quickest to the Gen 6 cars, and of course with this week off, maybe a little bit more time to prepare for tonight's festivities. Lodato and his telemetry, solid as he's ready to go at it again. Second gear, looking to get back at it at full pace. It's our first restart of the day, and hopefully we don't see all too many more. With 24 laps down and this first pit cycle on the way, we'll only have about 75 laps to deal with, which will give drivers one more necessary pit stop to get to the end. Mathematically speaking, they would only need 1 from here on out. However, if there are more yellow flags or anything of that nature, we could see more cautions. It's all dependent on how strategy ends up. Scott Zellner up high, Scott Wheeler down on the bottom. The iRacing official pace car, understandably of course, hoping not to see a lot of use. These are some long pace laps, and they're going to change up strategy if we see more yellow flags. Only 1 overtime attempt in the Highline Racing League, which means that we very rarely head to those points. And if we have more cautions, pit strategy will be extended. Still, 1 pit stop necessary no matter what. Let's see what happens from here as we head toward the turn of the half. 25 laps in out of 100. Let's get back to business with the Flying Scotsman again, your front row. Green flags out. Scott Zellner takes the race lead. An immediate 3-wide maneuver for the second spot. Lucas Lodato able to secure it, and he'll get ahead of Scott Wheeler. Very close contact between Poteet, Wheeler, Lodato, all of which coming aboard. And it's going to be tight racing here into turn 3. Wheeler up the track, real close to making contact with the wall. Luckily, nothing comes of it. Nevertheless, now it seems like 3 of the 4 horsemen are running inside the top 5. Zellner, Wheeler, Morrissey, 2nd, 4th, 5th, respectively. But even still, Lucas Lodato and the Swamp are once again on top here. No doubt and no denying that Lucas Lodato here, of course, wants more than just 3 wins. Honestly, with how well he's done in these first 5 races, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 5-win campaign out of Lodato. With races to spare, more than 1 victory isn't out of the question, and very rarely we see drivers pull away with 3 to 4 win seasons, but Lodato is becoming a force to be reckoned with. He's a driver who is only into his 3rd season of Premier Series competition, one of the very few direct transfers from the Development Series up, and he has become one of the best drivers in the Premier Series, and he immediately made his mark racing against Scott Zellner, season 16, in a part-time effort. Ever since that point, he's become a consistent competitor, known for doing great at the road courses, and that has been his forte. Now Dylan Poteet once again gets ahead, the 31 to the point, and he'll be pretty much set to lead lap 27. Single file most of the way out, a lot calmer than that opening start. One to pit road, that is Jason Harris. And it looks like just now he's driving through the grass. And that was out of control. There was an incident, and Harris was involved. Here is your replay with the 88 of Jason Harris. He was going through the grass and very slowly. It looks like nobody else was involved. But Harris limps it into pit road and gets back on the way. As we take a look at the live feed, he is still trying to get himself to recover. It's going to put Harris right now dead last on the circuit. Scott Zellner side by side, no longer for the lead. It's going to be Lodato and Dylan Poteet. Number 7 back to the race lead. You'll see now that at number 2, Scott Zellner's got a perfect shot to try and take it back. It's been this crossover work back and forth, time and time again. Taking a look at Dylan Poteet in the number 31, you'll see here a quick swap. Here comes the 31, looking low. Scott Wheeler, Caleb Morrissey, teammates watching now as Zellner fights off another. Poteet here really doing the work, keeping that number 2 of Zellner honest. Number 6 of Caleb Morrissey drops to the inside again. Caleb now getting a shot inside the podium, though. And for the first time all night long, the number 6, who qualified in the mid-pack, is firmly up in front. As high as 5th previously, this is the best spot he's running all throughout the race. 15th up to as high as 3rd, very briefly. He's got his teammates ahead of him for guidance. And still a lot of time to race. Matt Muir, though, going to slide ahead now of Caleb Morrissey as he drifts up the circuit. That gives Scott Wheeler again 4th, Matt Muir 5th, and Corey Blevins again getting up inside the top 10 for 6th. Corey now going to get himself right inside the top 5 battle. So far, Blevins, of course, trying to shake off some of the bad luck from the first 5 races. He's been strong this season, strong as he's ever been. He came fresh off of 2 consecutive podiums to end season 18, and we have seen him pace out of him. The only thing we haven't seen just yet, I think that just comes down to the execution. It's something he showed he definitely possesses last season, but ever since that point, not only has that competition intensified, but the dominance of the swamp has been unbelievable, to say the least. Something we did not expect, but it really has come to fruition. The 24 of Corey Blevins, I think he's the one right now who wants to make things work out for his own cause and finally get back to victory lane. It's been several seasons. You have to go back to season 15 in Bristol. The number 6 of Caleb Morris, he has himself down low again. It looks like he's dropping back further. Tyler Hampton getting up in the mix. For Swamp Motorsports, it's Lodato and Seb Miller holding the fort. Lucas Lodato leading, Dylan Poteet 2nd, Scott Wheeler 3rd across the line again. 33 laps in, out of 100. Currently, if you look a little bit further back in the ladder, you'll see some still tight fights. Dalton Beer going to be from 19th here. He'll be with Ty Smith. You'll see a little bit further behind that, Roberto Ramirez now runs 27th on the order. It looks like Jason Harris getting himself settled in again, and you'll see he's on pit road. Ramirez going to find himself for the tail end of the pack. He's been running there for the majority of the night, staying in the back in what looks like an intentional performance just to make sure he doesn't accumulate any damage. Looks like more than 20 drivers are in this pylon that leads up to your top man in Lodato. Patience often is key at these big tracks, and it looks like even if it means running outside of P20, it might just be the way to go. Playing the long game, we're seeing it already from some of our guys here as they're 3 wide down the back straightaway. 3 wide isn't nearly as exciting, of course, when you look at drivers here like Zellner and Seb Miller. Track this wide. Tyler Hampton again there with Dawson Buchanan and Chad Winstead. Then you'll see, of course, Ryan Potter. And we'd like to shout out, of course, that number 4 of Dawson Buchanan, our friends at Stadium Scene TV. If you haven't heard already, I'm pretty sure they've put out the news many times over. Buchanan is a winner and a champion once again. It comes down to getting the job done last night in SM Sim Racing's competition. Wednesday Night Dash Championship is his, getting the job done for not only a victory, but a title at the Texas Motor Speedway. Buchanan, we know, is so strong in the Wednesday night tour, and he comes over, he and Colton Gardner, and oftentimes, he's got the stuff to put in good races here as well. Now, I'll tell you this much, the Thursday night field is very competitive, so for Buchanan running 15th, not an indication that he is a bad driver. I think it all comes down to strategy once again. So shout out once more to Dawson Buchanan, and that number 4 winning the Stadium Scene Wednesday Night Dash Championship as he goes down to the inside for a 3-wide pass on the bottom. Caleb Morrissey right there with them. That puts Buchanan up into 10th. Still Lucas Lodato leading this train, and it looks like Dylan Poteet has grown rather content, keeping himself exactly where he needs to be, P2. Taking a look at that number 7 right now. If you take a look off his deck lid anyway, you'll see that Poteet is not challenged for the race lead. Instead, he's let it slide. Let Poteet, of course, have it. Now it looks like a different attitude. The 31 drops low, and he is no longer content with letting the 7 take hold. To the inside, Poteet for the race lead, and he slams the wall immediately, getting himself out of the wall fast, but it is damage. Now, Lodato's got another shot. Still can't quite get him immediately off corner exit. Rushing down the back straightaway, the field is toe-to-toe again. Wheeler gets blocked off and boxed in by Dylan Poteet. Up high, Matt Muir is still riding the top side, and he's been real comfortable making that high side work all night long. Scott Wheeler switches up, gets even higher than Muir, and takes a spot. 4 wide at the line for second. That's Wheeler now taking the position. Caleb Morrissey is on the bottom. Watch that number 6. He's got his teammate in Zellner behind him, and a lot of reason to be confident. Here comes the Jonestown Jet, surging up high for second. 3 teammates are lined up in that second row. You've got Wheeler, Morrissey, and Zellner all controlling lines. But it's time now for the 97 of Wheeler, the 2-time former champion, to fight again. Scott Wheeler brushing up against the wall, couldn't get it there. The number 31 of Dylan Poteet's got it made. He'll take the race lead. We'll see how long the field decides to keep him up there if they remain content. 39 laps in out of 100 drivers now on about a 19-lap stint. We're dealing with, give or take, 75 laps. It means that splitting this race, the remainder of it anyway, would mean lap 38 on the stint, which would be about lap 60 or so. That's when drivers would come in once again, and that would be most likely if we stay under green for the final time tonight. Still not a guarantee that we see the field do that, but if we stay under green, splitting strategy is always a popular call. And right now for Dylan Poteet, understandably anyway, he's got himself exactly where he wants to be, leading strategy. Doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, but Scott Wheeler is keeping him up in front. Pushing and shoving into 1. Matt Muir takes 3rd, highest position he's had all night long. And Matt Muir, starting from 13th on the day, has not looked lower than his qualifying placement, and has only been on the up and up ever since to reach a new high inside the top 3. Great running so far for Muir. Dylan Poteet has been, in an opposite sense, always up front, really hasn't had much to look back to. Qualified in 4th, and he went down to as low as 7th, but leads again as Poteet takes it across the stripe. Tyler Hampton is in 8th, Caleb Morrissey 9th, then you'll have Matthew Rodriguez, scored in 10th last time by, but some big shuffles as you can see. Caleb Morrissey getting so close to the race lead, only to fall back into the bottom half of the top 10. Gotta wonder right now what exactly he can do to make it back up there. His teammates have been fighting diligently to get this race win. And while Morrissey's been on the back end of the battle, I'm sure he wants to go out for his own victory. You'll see Zellner just ahead of him, Wheeler a few car lengths up. The four horsemen have been exceptional today, and if we talk about team favorites, they might be the one that gets it done. Wheeler across the line keeps Dylan Poteet ahead, no intention of swapping to the bottom. Meticulous efforts right now for all drivers in the front of the field. Number 2 of Zellner goes down low, and that's going to give him the race lead. He'll take his teammate now, Wheeler, with and surging to the bottom. Looks like it works out quite well. Here comes the 31, of course, of Dylan Poteet up high. Poteet's on the top side. You got the number 2 of Scott Zellner on the bottom. Then you've got Scott Wheeler, Joshua Sim, and Seb Miller rounding out the top 5. Contact, and it's huge! Lucas Lodato turned around, and he's hooked up the track. Caution is out. Take a look at this. Lodato, the number 7 from the top 5. Previously trying to surge back up to the upper echelon, gets caught up big. Door banging with Corey Blevins, wiggles once, twice, tries to get away from it, then Brooks into Winstead, and that sends Lucas Lodato up the circuit. Chad Winstead ends up falling further back because he gets hit all the same. Slammed into Matthew Rodriguez. Winstead down to the grass, Lodato up the wall. And it looks like win number 4, it might have to wait. Big damage for that number 7. The field comes down to pit road once again. It'll be Dylan Poteet leading, and it looks like second cycle on the day. Still, we have ourselves about 55 laps remaining when we go green. We're on the borderline of seeing whether or not we have one more pit cycle. Going to be tricky. And I think if cautions persist, we will see still at least one more pit cycle after this. So I'm not betting on this one being the last one, expecting to see drivers go in multiple times from here to the end. Pit stops on lap number 43, beginning here and now with Poteet getting the advantage. Then you'll have Joshua Sim, Sebastian Miller. They got out quick on a 2-tire strategy, it appears. Then you'll have Zellner. You'll have Wheeler. They'll go after it. And to round out the top 10, Matt Muir, Caleb Morrissey, Dawson Buchanan, and Adam Bozzi. Scott Zellner leads the way. 44 laps in out of 100, the Flying Scotsmen have done a fantastic job. And it looks like, again, winning off a pit road. They'll be 5th and 6th, respectively. You'll have Ryan Potter, your overall race leader. Potter is deciding to stay out, as is Ty Smith. Looks like these two are going to head to pit road this time by, if anything. Ty Smith having some damage in that number 18. As it stands, you're going to see he's running 26th, qualified 14th, and unfortunately today has been a day of negatives for the number 18 crew, down 12 on the day to this point. He's going to try to get himself a lap back here. Ryan Potter, still your race leader at the line. We're going to see what happens now for the driver, the only of which on old rubber. The risk, I don't know if it's worth taking, but Ryan Potter will decide to be the man who tests the theory. Restarting at lap number 46. Here we go again. '83 of Seb Miller up top. It's the Red Bull Chevy Camaro. Dylan Poteet low. Scott Zellner finding himself 4th. Double file with the field collecting itself. It looks like right now we have just about 25 drivers on the lead lap. Looking back to Roberto Ramirez, he's going to be now scored 1 lap down after going to pit road. That means 24. He'll relinquish his position on the lead lap. And the last man of it all, Matthew Rodriguez. Rodriguez right now, as you see though, looks like he's going to find himself heading to pit road for more damage repairs following that last incident. So we'll have about 23 on the lead lap, it appears. We get back at it again. Still your leaders, mostly the same. One exception, Potter on old rubber. Let's see if it works out here for the number 99. 2 tire calls made for some of the risk takers here. Whether or not that track position is all they need is the biggest question of all. 46 laps in out of 100. Here we go again. Green flags out. Surging on the inside, it's Potter. Then you'll have the number 83 of Seb Miller. And it looks like Ryan Potter gets away well. Three wide. Here comes Zellner, bursting through on the outside, taking the lead out of turn 2. What a surge from the number 2 of Zellner to find himself. Oh, there's contact in the back. You're seeing it now. Drivers swerving out of line. Joshua Sim involved. Caution on the field. Looks like it has not been called yet, but we had ourselves an incident. Take a look back and you'll see. Green flag is still officially out, and it happens with Sim involved. Drivers beating and banging off each other. Wheeler with Sim. Coming out of the corner, 4 wide there. And as they made it through the back straightaway, Poti into Sim. They bang off each other. Sim in the wall, saves it. Luckily hits nobody else, and that's why we're still green. But Joshua Sim is going to be the loser in this scenario as he falls all the way outside of the top 15. And he's going to find himself now scored in 23rd with major right side damage and additional left side contact. Scott Zellner coming across the line again. You'll have Caleb Morrissey, Dawson Buchanan now in 3rd. That is a big shuffle up, and it's going to change the outlook of this field entirely. Buchanan has gotten himself up into the podium. Caleb Morrissey is comfortably 2nd, and Scott Zellner, whose inevitability has been delayed all season long, is now lonely with the race lead as he looks after that big 20th victory. We'll see if there's anyone else left in sight to catch up to the number 2, but Zellner so far has been great. As always, we'll see if tonight he's got the extra pep in his step to go to victory lane. Caleb Morrissey for 2nd. Adam Bozzi right now finding himself running in the 9th place. You'll see Connor Holden getting in front of what's left of this Hornet's Nest. And Joshua Sims' incident really shaking up the field. Going to take a long while if we have enough time at all to put it back together. The Busch Light number 81 finds himself now up to 12th place, getting just ahead of his teammate in Sebastian Miller in the 83. See Dylan Poti going to find himself outside the top 15 now for the first time tonight. He is very much outside of winning contention. Ryan Potter has fallen back, and it looks like the slightly older rubber has not paid off well. The 2-tire game has not been ideal. 4 tires looks to be the way to go for the rest of this race. Drivers learning now rather than later, luckily, so some of those mistakes can be counteracted as the night progresses. But undeniably, in the first 50 laps, there's been a lot of time to practice and prepare. Now it is showtime. The field is set to head back at it for the second half as Zellner will lead him through. Teammate Caleb Morrissey on his backup, and you'll have Dawson Buchanan still in 3rd place. Scott Wheeler is 4th. Lucas Lodano 5th, Matt Muir in 6th, P7 is Joshua Sim according to timing and scoring. Of course, that has changed drastically. Matt Muir has moved up into that placement, and Joshua Sim has fallen far away. Muir runs with Scott Wheeler as we come across the line for your halfway marker. 50 laps remaining now. Let's go over your top 10. It'll be Scott Zellner leading. Then Caleb Morrissey in 2nd place. It's going to change now with Corey Blevins surging into the mix. Here comes the number 24. Blevins now taking third. Dawson Buchanan going to be fourth. It'll be Scott Wheeler for fifth. And Matt Muir, the number 70, having himself in the sixth place. Seventh spot on the order is now going to be Tyler Hampton, with eighth Kenny Brooks, ninth and Adam Bozzi, and Jim Fott concluding the top 10. Time still to spare as we just open up our second half, 49 laps to go. We're going to take a brief moment to step aside and thank our friends at iRacing.com who have made things oh so exciting. Now more than 16 years, iRacing.com leads virtual motorsport, and there's a good reason for it. Anyone from an amateur to a professional can make their way through and use iRacing as a practice tool for racing or to have some fun with friends. Visit iRacing.com today and register to start your sim racing journey. Big contact, Corey Blevins and Scott Wheeler. Caution is out. It's your third of the day. Yellow flag flies once more, and here is why. "48 laps to go, and here's a look. Loose, Morrissey was, and it looks like Blevins reacted. That hits the 97. Then Adam Bozzi gets contact. Hampton through the grass. Caution is out. And the field scurries away. 48 laps to go as the caution flies, and we return to your live feed with a little bit of time now in between the green flag action. With that said, we'll take a brief moment to step aside and thank our partners and associates live on FTN for bringing the coverage to you. Zellner decides to go down a pit road. Caleb Morrissey does not. We've got ourselves a strategy split now with 48 laps to go. We'll return after this. Courtesy of Whiplash Simcams, you're watching FTN nonstop coverage under yellow.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
"46 laps to go. It's about time now that we bring it back to action. Caleb Morrissey, your race leader, he decided to stay out here, and strategy is big time split. Matt Muir going to find himself second. Dawson Buchanan is third. Matt Muir, of course, right there with Scott Zellner finding himself coming off a pit road, and he's got very few drivers to make it through if he wants to take that lead again. The field is set to get ready under the guise of Caleb Morrissey. Coming to 45 laps remaining. Here we go again. Restart for the third time tonight. Once again, the four horsemen lead, but this time it's their number 6 driver who gets it in there. The channel locked Ford Mustang brings it to the point. Dawson Buchanan follows through, and the rest of the field comes with 3 wide already as we're set to get back at it in an Auto Club. "45 laps to go. You're already going to see Caleb Morrissey having himself at the head of the field. Then Dawson Buchanan dips down. Already the battle persists, and it looks like these two drivers are going to wait and see what happens next. New rubber for Zellner. It's a big advantage. He's already up to third, and now is the time we're going to see whether or not that new tire makes a difference to take it to the lead. Up top, number 2, Zellner looks there. Down low, he's got it there as well. Now he's surging down to the bottom. Zellner, side by side, close to his teammate. Couldn't get it off the corner in the slightest. Ryan Potter looks to the inside. It's going to be 3 wide, taking Potter down to the bottom. See the 38? Up on the high side, you got Andrew Baker in the mix as well. Dalton Beer getting up to P5. It's close on the high out of 4. That's caused multiple cautions already. Brooks to the bottom. Zellner in the middle. Up top, it's going to be the number 31. Dylan Pote still in the mix here. Here comes Sebastian Miller. He'll surge for 3. Up top on the track, it's going to be Andrew Baker machine in the wall, getting it up high through turn 2, and now falling back big. It looks like, unfortunately, there for Baker, he's going to drop all the way outside of the top 10 and the top 15. That's got him now running just outside of the confines in the 16th place. 43 laps to go, and while he could absolutely recover, the battle for the race lead has gotten even tighter up at the front. Dawson Buchanan to the point as it looks like big trouble behind. One in the wall. Caution is out. It's Dylan Pote. Take a look at this. A big incident for the 31. And here's how it all played out. Dylan Pote took it down to the bottom. Contact, hit from Morrissey. Morrissey comes down and in, swings up the track, and takes Dalton Beer with him. 3-car incident, the 38, the 31, and the 6. Pote gets it the worst of all. Caleb Morrissey now trying to recover at least to get back on the lead lap, but he'll have to head to pit road for some substantial damage repairs. We'll have less than 40 laps to go. When we return green, Dawson Buchanan is your leading man. Buchanan and Ryan Potter now first and second. Potter making this most recent stint a lot more productive than when he last stayed out. It looks like he's figured something out, a little bit different than what we saw previous, and he's got an opportunity to really use it. Ryan right now finds himself as high as he's been all night long. Coming now, 2 laps to green. Looking a little bit further behind, a few drivers have opted immediately to head to pit road. Colton Gardner's getting on the way. You can see him there. Chad Winstead is going in one more time just to get himself a little bit perhaps fresher rubber or to repair some damage. Again, only 4 tire sets allotted for everyone in the field here. And you'll see the number 5 of Tyler Hampton make his way in. That Valvoline Chevrolet got himself a good position on pit road, but it's a shame now to use it. Most likely for these guys means big damage. "40 laps remaining, and up in front, Caleb Morrissey no longer. Instead, Dawson Buchanan's got it made as we come to 1 lap to green this time around. Looks like now Colton Gardner getting up in there, and the Auto Club Speedway has proven exciting so far today. This is your 4th caution of the day, 60 laps in. What's next, of course, for the field, that remains to be seen. More than halfway through, strategy has been shuffled largely, of course, by continued incidents, but can't continue forever. Only 1 overtime attempt means we only have up to 103 laps allotted. Depending on how long that final caution goes, the white flag makes things official. But that's something that I think is still far in the minds for many. Talking about immediate stint data, well, you'll see who's got the advantage. Dawson Buchanan's on a 17-lap run. I don't think that's going to help him out in the slightest here. Ryan Potter, though, has something potent. He's only on a 7-lap stint. As such, I think he's going to find himself in a much better position. Younger tire, and he'll be starting right to the inside with your control car. His hope is to take the race lead as the remainder of the field comes close once again. Potter to the bottom, 70 is up top. That, of course, being Matt Muir. 1 to green, 38 laps remaining from there. Double file, everyone comes through in one piece. We're getting ready for restart number 4. Unfortunately, cautions have come and gone for the majority of the night, and they've come with some blips of green flag racing, but nothing of permanence. Now, with 40 laps left on the docket, and just less than that, we'll see if the field shuffles up. Ryan Potter getting a shot, as does Matt Muir, again on the high side. The field will go green, with the majority of them staying on the inside of the circuit this time through, not going to pit road. So old rubber will persist as we head back at it again, and Dawson Buchanan, winning a championship last night, he is in control. The pace car ducks low. Dawson Buchanan is in control. Here we go again now. The number 4 grabs the gear and gets things started. Green flags out. Matt Muir and Ryan Potter quick to follow. Sebastian Miller in the number 83 again, looking for a top 5 placement. It's a very different scene up in front. A lot of sparse competition. It's spread out, and it's not as much when it comes to that quantity. Slowly but surely, drivers have been falling out of the ladder, but we still see 15, 20 drivers connected all the way back to Dylan Poteet. It is exactly 20 on the lead lap now. To the inside, Dawson Buchanan sees some competition on him. Here comes Ryan Potter, and we mentioned he has pace. Now he'll be looking for the race lead. Potter to the inside with his teammate, the 83, right with. Here comes Ryan Potter. He'll come, of course, to the high side. His teammate in the 83 and Miller goes low. 37 laps to go. Coming to 36 up next. Now, Miller merges high. The number 4 of Buchanan finds himself 3rd. Then you'll have Matt Muir running 4th place again. Matt has been diligent on the high side all night long, and he remains higher than his competitors going in each and every corner, even if he's not using that outright top groove. Take a ride on board with some driver telemetry now from Matt Muir. Fourth gear, full on with 36 laps to go. Matt Muir perhaps in the best position he's been in all night long and all season long to win a race. He's been consistently up on the high side and, of course, up top of the circuit with good position all night long. That consistency will remain pivotal here. 35 laps to go this time by. Remaining green, even the Hornet's Nest has really died down. You'll see Sean Billman pushing with the 81 of Connor Holden. Then from there, Caleb Morrissey. Morrissey is going to decide to take it down to the bottom groove here. Terry Brooks with them. They'll be side by side again. Caleb Morrissey's got it low, ducking to the bottom. You got Terry and Kenny Brooks really racing well today. The Brooks family up and in front. Kenny tonight in particular has done a great job. The number 54 has been up inside of the top 10 since the beginning of this race. We even saw him get away from a few incidents. Started 19th. And even then, he has been fantastic, making his way up and staying there all throughout the night. That's a level of consistency perhaps we don't always see from the 54 on a one-race basis, but to see it is a great thing, and to act on it is another fantastic component of his race. And of course, Terry Brooks as well doing a great job staying with them. Right now, Terry is going to be in the 7th spot just ahead. Number 23 has been up and down, qualifying in 20th, of course. But now, to be up inside of that top 10 battle as well is another great accolade. The Brooks family tonight starting 19th and 20th, and both are fighting for top 10 efforts on the day. And although it didn't start the best way, they've made gains and kept it up there. 33 laps to go, becomes 32 this time by, and you're still seeing up and ahead. Dawson Buchanan is in 3rd, but you'll have the Swamp Motorsports duo leading of Sebastian Miller and Ryan Potter. How about that for the number 99 Potter to the points? This is something, of course, that we maybe didn't expect from the number 99 team. Ryan Potter today has avoided that misfortune and now has the backing of his teammate, the direct backing from the number 99. Undeniably, Ryan Potter, a driver who's shown speed, and he's with a great team. The Swamp Motorsports program this year has leveled up in the Highline Racing League, and to go 5 for 6 with a 3rd different winner, even if it is Sebastian Miller, would be an amazing accolade. Sebastian Miller started 7th today and has proven a consistent, speedy candidate. He just hasn't gotten it up there at the very end of a race. So 32 laps to go. Teammates are pushing away from the rest of the field as we come toward lap number 70 here. Potter still breaking away. Seb Miller right there with them. And they'll come across the stripe now in a world of their own, more than a second out from Dawson Buchanan. The first drivers to break the gap. Wide open all throughout the night. Dawson Buchanan, 1.4 seconds back. Then from there, you'll have Caleb Morrissey and Jim Fott, 4th and 5th. Jim running in the highest spot he's been in all night long. Looks like, unfortunately, for the Tyler Hampton crew, not as good a run in this second half, at least so far anyway. Hampton finding himself running very far back in the 18th place. You'll see right there Matthew Rodriguez as a lapper, running as a leader previously. Hampton has critical front end damage, and that's going to hamper him big time. That Valvoline Chevrolet, not where he'd like to be, but it looks like tonight he'll have to settle for lesser on account of his significant damage. Dawson Buchanan still leading with 30 laps to go here, and it looks like now Caleb Morrissey getting up there. Ryan Potter to the points. Potter and Miller, they've gotten away. The battle in the second pack stays tight, but these two, they are out in their own world, and as teammates, I'm sure they are loving it. Swamp Motorsports has found a way to win once again, and if they can just hang on cleanly from here to the end, I think they've got it made once more. Looking further behind, Jim Fott is still fighting for 5th here, and it looks like it's going to be 2x2 again. A little bit more similar to what we saw to open up the night in terms of the racing conditions. 2x2, if not 3 wide. You're starting to see more and more what happens when drivers get that antsy feeling that it is time to push for position. And what happens, of course, when you see things like that? You start to get more aggression, you start to see a little bit more excitement in the drivers, and that doesn't always lead to good outcomes. It does often lead to incidents, though, and that, I think, is why we saw so many to kick off the night. Now that many a driver has damages, of course, from front to back in the field, that's why you're seeing calmer racing. And even then, those that remain want to make passes and they want to race intense. That's what you're seeing right now, and it's happening with 28 laps to go. So you can imagine, unless these drivers don't at all get up to the race leading battle, they'll keep on fighting and clawing, and they'll race a little bit riskier until they know they've got a shot. Caleb Morrissey now finds himself as a third-place driver, and over the last 4 laps, you'll see if he's gotten a little bit closer now to your race leaders. And it looks like, according to the data, he absolutely has. The gap has gone from 2 seconds now to just about 1.16. It's gotten even shorter, 1.35 in the previous lap, and he's cutting down about 0.2 of a second consistently each time by. Swamp Motorsports got away, but it looks like now the 4 horsemen might be coming back to reclaim their throne. And although the top 2 drivers have each other pretty well set up in front, I don't think that's going to last permanently if they pushed a little too hard. Maybe shoving their equipment out there and hoping they could get a little bit of a bigger gap. Looks like right now, though, that number 99, while he has himself an advantage, it is not significant enough to hold Ford all the way. 83 of Miller still behind. 26 laps to go. Everyone heading up to the high side here, and it looks like the number 6 of Caleb Morrissey there as well. Caleb is going to be following, as is Dawson Buchanan. You have to watch out now for this number 6. He's the leader of the trail, looking for victory. A lot of drivers following now Caleb's every move, and this big pack is looking to take back the swamp and flip things upside down. Coming to 25 laps remaining. Into turns 1 and 2. Gap is going to remain 1.1 seconds that time by. It looks like the differentiation has mellowed out. In fact, Morrissey is no longer gaining. Over the course of the last 4 laps, he's only gained 0.04 seconds. And over the course of the last 3, you can see he's actually lost 1/10 of a second once again. So the gains have been neutralized, and in fact, they've been reversed. Things look a little bit different now for Caleb, who looked oh so promising in making his gains and making them quickly. 25 laps to go, comes 24 this time by. He is still the leader of the big pack, and now with them, coming close behind, is 19-time race winner Scott Zellner. Zellner wants this victory badly. He has been so close at least 3 times. And he gets time again. Of course, this number 2 of Zellner, he's gotten himself in the podium, the top 5 this season already, but a victory has been eluding him. And it would be unbelievable to bring it back to one of our cornerstone tracks, the Auto Club Speedway, and win once again. 24 laps to go. He would love to seal the deal, but first he's got to get by Dawson Buchanan, while his teammate Morrissey is still bringing it in. Across the line, 23 laps remaining. Dawson Buchanan right now still chases, but the Swamp Motorsports guys have themselves advantageous as we come with 22 laps to go this time by. As always, we'd like to thank our camera partners at Whiplash SimCams for making tonight's coverage possible and providing the best cameras on the iRacing market. Licensing fees not necessary. Any broadcaster of any experience level can join the Whiplash SimCam family today. Free trial cameras are available at Whiplash's Discord server. You can check them out free of cost and any licensing concerns. We'd like to thank Pitstop TV for inviting us into the Whiplash SimCam family. And with 22 laps to go now, let's crank it up from Fontana. But now it appears we've got ourselves a challenge for the top spot. Still, Ryan Potter has himself the lead. It'll be Sebastian Miller for second, but that could change very quickly with the number 6 of Morrissey finding himself right behind. Here comes the number 6, looking to the inside now. The number 99 of Ryan Potter goes high, no choice but to let the crossover occur. Morrissey slowed down off exit, but it won't be enough to stop him. Down the back straightaway, Morrissey puts the power down again, and it's going to be toe-to-toe between he and second place Seb Miller. Miller just barely pulls ahead once again. 19 laps to go, coming to 18 laps remaining. Potter still has some defense with his teammate running right behind. Caleb Morrissey, 18 laps to go. Here comes the number 6 heading the inside, going for 1 and 2 passes, again dropping his number 6 right up top. This time by, it won't stick. Potter's got the run off the corner. Ryan Potter now going to make a move, and that's going to get him back up to the race lead, just waiting patiently. Morrissey is sending it in consistently, corner after corner, into turn 3, and it hasn't worked out all too well. Same goes for the exit of 1 and 2. He drives in too aggressively and cost himself down the track. Ryan Potter with contact. 3 wide now. Morrissey is in the sandwich. Caleb Morrissey rubbing up just a bit, and Ryan Potter now falls to third. Sebastian Miller's trying to fend off Morrissey with a little bit more contact now, and it looks like the number 6 is using up the teammates. Ryan Potter gets in line. He'll give Sebastian Miller a better shot with more momentum down the exit of the corner. Here comes the 83. 17 laps to go. Here comes the number 6 in the middle of the corner. It looks like he's going to be slowed down again. Ryan Potter, seeing the distraction up top, still has a chance. Dawson Buchanan now chasing Potter, and it looks like the Swamp Motorsport guys have fallen right back down to earth. Caleb Morrissey to the inside again for the race lead. Sebastian Miller has not given in, and he has been using that outside as the best crutch possible. It gets him again the race lead, and just having that extra lane and a little bit more speed has kept him up in front. The advantage is minuscule, but it is just needed. Contact again. Miller sent up the circuit. Caleb Morrissey going for broke. More contact. Right hook up the track. Caleb Morrissey in a big one for the lead. Yellow flag is out. Take a look back and see what happened here with the number 6 of Caleb Morrissey. Contact immediately with the number 6 of Morrissey. Take a look here. The 83 of Miller. Right up high. As they went side by side, real quickly, Ryan Potter got in the picture, and that's when things got bad. As Miller went up the circuit, Ryan Potter coming in to tag team him, and it's 3 wide, shot up the track, caution is out. This is going to send us now with give or take 13 laps remaining. As we go green, we'll have that amount, the Baker's dozen. Field heads in. Scott Zellner coming immediately with Ryan Potter, Terry Brooks, Dawson Buchanan, Sebastian Miller, and Colton Gardner. That's the top 6 making their way through, and it looks like now, 87 laps in out of 100, time running out for the field again. We'll see who makes it out first, and we'll take a brief step back with some non-stop coverage here on FTN. Take a listen now as Zellner makes his way through. Pit exit, still unoccupied. Drivers making their way out. And for the number 2 of Zellner, with that top stall, what's the call here for the number 2? It looks like still there, and he'll make it out first. It'll be Zellner, then immediately after Joshua Sim, am Dawson Buchanan. That's the 1, 2, 3. And we'll be right back as we take it briefly nonstop, brought to you now by Whiplash Simcams.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arkham Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Restarting with 12 laps remaining here, and the field is noticeably smaller. 19 on the lead lap. Ryan Potter and Scott Zellner, your front row. Zellner looking for win number 20 here. Getting closer and closer to making it happen. And tonight could be the night. He's gotten close. He's had chances in the lead, but Ryan Potter, as of late, has shown out. Caleb Morrissey, unfortunately, involved in that most recent incident. That is a race ender for the number 6, and it looks like, again, aggressive action at the very end costs Morrissey. Shades of what we've seen previously in his endeavors to find victory lane. Last time he was wrecked out of a race-winning battle, though, he went to win the next week. Restart, 12 laps to go. Zellner's got the jump. Scott Zellner advantageous, and already you'll see side by side further behind. Getting closer now to a point where we could call overtime if anything occurs. Watch out now for Dawson Buchanan in second. Third place here, that's going to be number 99 of Ryan Potter. Potter looking low. You got the rookie and Sean Billman as well. Billman has not been in front all throughout the night until now. He's gotten himself up to 5th place, and he's been up and down the order today. He qualified, of course, 18th place, as you see, and as low as 27th and last. Not been a day of perfection so far for Sean, but to be here now when it matters most, of course, that's the do-or-die factor. Contact again. Dawson Buchanan in the wall with Ryan Potter in more trouble, and another big incident. Caution's out, 10 laps to go. Billman involved, and we'll take a replay and show you just what happened. Side by side, Buchanan and Potter, number 99 to the number 4 here. And as Buchanan made it up the track, he will hit Ryan Potter, and this is what sent us back to pacing. Number 4 involved. Here comes Potter up the track. Then Bozzi and Billman. See there, Sean kept sliding. Ten laps to go. And so we'll be heading down to the single digits to finish this. Dawson Buchanan in the 4 heads into pit road, and it looks like Scott Zellner right now going to remain out with Terry Brooks Connor Holden, Jim Fott, and Kenny Brooks all together again. Coming to 9 laps remaining this time around, and the field is at a standstill. If there's any other caution after this point, it's highly likely we're sent to green, white, checkered, and overtime territory, no matter what it is. We'll take our final step back of the day and provide our last non-stop coverage of the night. With 9 laps to go, you're watching the end of the Highline Racing League wildcard race, and we'll return as we go green with what looks to be 7 more laps after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The remainder of the field catching up now as we are set to go green with 7 laps remaining. Scott Zellner eyeing win number 20. Here we go again. Terry Brooks is on the inside looking for a victory. He's been chasing for several seasons. Connor Holden is looking to keep, of course, the Swamp Motorsport Brigade alive. Jim Fott right down low as well. Jim, although Tyler Hampton hasn't done the best today, of course, falling far out of contention, he's had one of his best days as a rookie so far this season. Top 5 performance so far. He's looking to finish it and cap it off with a nice checkered flag run. Seven laps to go. One more chance for many of these drivers. Andrew Baker, Colton Gardner, Chad Winstead, Joshua Sim all lined up, but it looks like Scott Zellner has what it takes. We'll see if anyone can knock him down the totem pole. Green flags out. Holden and Zellner come together, and the 81 of Connor Holden on the outside gets a much better run than Brooks down and in. Scott Zellner getting the advantage through the opening corners. Terry Brooks is still chasing. The biggest shock of all, perhaps, would be if someone like Connor Holden gets up there, someone who we haven't seen all throughout the day, who's had troubles with handling early and has kept himself on a low profile for the rest of the night. Connor right now is the highest spot he's run all throughout the day. You can see here, he qualified today in 16th. He's been as low as dead last, and he is up to the podium after laps of awaiting. 6 laps to go. Scott Zellner in the number 2. He's up and in front. Started first, and he's looking to finish this race not only as the all-time winningest driver, but as a 20-time driver of course, race victories. You got that number 81 of Connor Holden still behind here, and if anyone can do it, it's the ever-gaining number 81 that has a chance. Looking at the tire data, this might be the only indication of who's got it made, and currently, they're dead even. But here comes Connor Holden looking to the inside now. The 81 gets it low with 5 laps remaining. The closest effort anyone has had for the race lead. And it looks like now Holden has it. Zellner put to second. Connor Holden to the points. The 81 of Holden now getting the advantage, and even though his teammates have tried and failed so far today, the last hope is that number 81 you've seen previously up in front. Ryan Potter, Sebastian Miller, Lucas Lodato, all of which involved an incident. Connor Holden has surged through, and now with 4 laps remaining, it looks like again Zellner on the quest for 20 finds trouble. 4 laps to go. Only 8 miles left, and Scott Zellner once again squeezes to the inside. Lucas Lodato is in third. Unbelievably, after being put into the wall during the opening 25 laps, Lodato is in third, and he's coming up on his teammate. Terry Brooks there as well. Here comes Lodato, surging to the bottom. He's got himself a run, and he'll take third. Jim Fott coming through. Connor Holden just ahead now of Scott Zellner side by side. Neither of which get clear. 3 laps remaining. Zellner gets a much better run off the outside though, and that might be the determining factor for at least the next lap. Terry Brooks takes second again. You'll see double file further behind. Zellner is surging, but is he breaking out too early? This could tie him back once again and make him lose more time than anything. Connor Holden is now fading, but Terry Brooks still has a shot. He's trailing directly after that number 2. And contact again. Kenny Brooks going to be sent out of the inside of the circuit. We're going to overtime with Joshua Sim and Kenny Brooks involved. Take a look at this. Kenny in the 54 shot around, as was the 51 of Sim. This is the last chance for every driver. Kenny up high, and you could see him here getting close to Connor Holden, then gets in the wall, then shot down with the 51. Yellow flags out for a multi-car incident. 2 drivers, the 54 of Brooks and the 51 of Joshua Sim. Yellow flag flies. Dawson Buchanan still on pit road here. Matt Muir getting back up there. Scott Zellner leading as we're set to go for only 2 laps remaining. Zellner so far, he's pulled together one of the many classic performances out of this number 2 team. 35 laps led on the day. As we come across the line, he will lead us through lap 100, but in one of those very rare cases of an overtime, he will not be the winner across the stripe. Instead, he'll have to fight for it for 2 more laps under green. That, of course, is no guarantee when everyone pushes and shoves to the absolute maximum with the race on the line. Overtime procedure in effect here, and it's only 1 attempt, which means that no matter what, in the next 2 green flag laps, we get things started again. Race is over. Caution indicates that we will end under yellow, and timing and scoring loops will determine finishing positions. End under green, and we get to that white flag, we will race it to the very end. Scott Zellner leading 36 plus laps on the night. It looks like he's going to get at least 1 more free lap under caution. Wants to get this done and finally put to rest the chase for 20. It's a long-awaited adventure, of course, that has gone back to the beginning of his Highline Racing League career. In the past 2.5 years, he's pulled more than 10 victories, and now is looking to continue extending that all-time lead. No other driver has won more than 10, and he's the only of which that can say with confidence he wins 20 if he just finishes on top tonight. But Terry Brooks is right there, and moreover, you got Jim Fott, Adam Bozzi, Connor Holden, and even now Lucas Lodato. Lodato's gotten himself back into the mix. Even though he had very much damage early, he's recovered and put himself back together. Dawson Buchanan finally getting off of pit road here, and it looks like he'll recover 19th place. He goes down every pit road cycle just to keep himself on the lead lap, and he's collecting himself again to get back up front. One lap to green. Jim Fott to the inside. Scott Zellner up top. It's a chance for a first career win for the driver of the 21, and for the number 2, a chance for his 20th. For both drivers, this is a significant race. Most significant of all is how it goes from here. 2 laps. It ends no matter what at lap 103. Checkered flag is due to fly in only 4 miles time, and a chance to continue breaking records is ahead of Zellner. For Jim Fott tonight, he cares not for the records of the past, and he's looking to become one of many who make it happen for a first career win. In an especially competitive landscape in the Highline Racing League, the 21 has been given his chance. It's now take it or leave it, with 2 laps to go. Pace car low, Jim Fott on the bottom, Scott Zellner up top. Side by side of the restart zone, here we go again. Zellner gets the jump, 2 laps remaining. And Scott pulls out a car length. If anything happens on this lap, it could be game over just like that. A perfect jump on the high side. Connor Holden now going to split it for 3 wide, trying to take second place as they battle each other for the remaining spot. Scott Zellner's got it, and he's getting away now with only a lap and a half. Entering turns 3 and 4. If the white flag falls, we'll race to the very end. Terry Brooks finding himself on the cusp of what could be victory. He'll have to push much harder from here to make it stick. 1 lap remaining. Final lap out now for Scott Zellner, and he's now 2 miles away from his 20th career win. Connor Holden getting himself up now to second. He's taking the high groove, Brooks on the low, and if there's any driver who's had the pace and aggression to make it happen, Holden is the one. Zellner skates up high. Connor Holden now going to be on the chase, but he's not gaining nearly quick enough. For the 4 horsemen, Scott Zellner is already your all-time winningest driver. The only driver with 10 victories. The only driver with 15 victories. And tonight, after coming off the final corner in California, Scott Zellner is a 20-time race winner in the Highline Racing League. Checkered flag for the number 2. He'll win an Auto Club and extend the record. 20 career wins. The best of them all does it again. Win number 20, and how sweet it is for the number 2 team. 40 laps led here from Fontana. A dominant performance for the 4 horsemen, starting and finishing on top. Time to burn it down. Your winningest driver finds another way to victory lane. And now, the celebration begins. And to finish it off on the start-finish line, naked in, motors blown, Scott Zellner, a race winner for the 20th time in his career. Let's hear now from the guy, of course, who got it done on the podium. But first, your race results. Scott Zellner takes the race victory over Connor Holden in P2. Then third for Terry Brooks, and Jim Fott goes P4. You'll have Adam Bozzi 5th and Joshua Simmons 6th, with Lucas Lodato in 7th, Sean Billman 8th, Nat Muir 9th, and Andrew Baker P10. 11th place on the order. Then from there is the driver of the number 99, Ryan Potter. Potter finishes 11th. Hampton goes P12. Colton Gardner 13th, with Dylan Poteet 14th, and Ty Smith 15th place. It's Dawson Buchanan 16th, Kenny Brooks 17th, Chad Winstead 18th, and P19, Roberto Ramirez. To round out the top 20, Matthew Rodriguez. And then from there, Sebastian Miller, Caleb Morrissey, Dalton Beer, Levens, Jacob Halm, Scott Wheeler, and Jason Harris round out your field tonight, but your pole sitter comes away a winner. And better yet, it's perhaps the most important victory of his career, his 20th, the all-time highest, and the record keeps climbing. Let's hear now from the man who got it done, Scott Zellner, already a two-time champion. Now, when it comes to victories, the record keeps getting broken. Number 20 on the catalog, Scott. What a way to win it. And of course, Auto Club, such a staple of this series, and you brought everything you had in the tank tonight.
Yeah, David, how'd that feel? Man, that was awesome. I can't believe held everybody off for those restarts. I knew during practice I had a pretty fast car, pretty good layout of this track. I love racing at Auto Club. Surprisingly enough, I wasn't somebody that voted for it though in the wild card. But I'm glad we got this track. Yeah, it was nuts. The runs that you get with these cars in the draft is insane. And there was points where we were 4 or 5 wide going down the back stretch, and I had 2 cars in my peripheral, and I couldn't even fit like a piece of paper between the two of them. Oh man, this feels good. Adrenaline's flowing. That was a really fun race. Really, really grateful for everybody out there on track tonight. That was just a lot of fun right there.
And it looks like it all came down to those final restarts, yellow flags, and even an overtime finish at the end. But I'll take it back to the beginning where, of course, you led this race with the pole position. You and your teammate fighting up front from the beginning here. And it looks like you had some good pace. Was there anything in practice got revealed to you guys? You just had it naturally?
Well, I felt like tires were eventually going to come into play, so I tried to not overplay my hand and overdrive the car at the beginning of runs and until the end there when I had to run qualifying laps, those last 15 laps. But I thought the bottom was really good in 1 and 2, and a lot of guys were running the top, and I felt like I was running about a lane lower than everybody else in 3 and 4. So it was really nice to get the clean air on the front of the car. And you mentioned battling up from my teammates. That was really fun, and I'm really bummed for those guys because they've had some really bad luck this season, running up front and just getting caught up in somebody else's mess. It's got to turn around for all of us at one point, and I hope this is a footstep in the right direction. Just getting this win.
Turning the tide for the rest of the regular season, it all comes down to an overtime finish, and you kept them at bay on the restarts. We saw hard chargers just behind you, such as Holden and Terry Brooks. What was it like for you? Were you mirror driving at all? Were you focusing on what was ahead?
Well, I was definitely mirror driving, and my strategy was to get a good launch in the restart zone. I tried to change up my habits. I would go at the front of the restart zone, and then I'd wait a couple car lengths to get a little bit out in front. And then I thought that it was better for myself to try to pull the bottom lane so that they were even with the top, because if I was just running the top draft was just going to catch me. So trying to keep those guys side by side. I tried to break the draft a couple times by diving down towards the apron. It was a lot of mirror driving, but you also have to keep your eyes forward, because if you overdrive the entry to one of these corners, you're really going to eat it. going down the straightaways. They're so long, and the draft was so strong. But yeah, there was a lot of mirror driving, and I don't really consider myself a really good restarting person unless I'm in the lead. So I'm glad that I had the track position and could take advantage of it.
Now, of course, continuing to stretch that record as our all-time winningest driver, we get back to business with a super speedway race next week where anyone really could win. How do you feel about your chances in keeping the good times rolling there?
Well, you might as well just throw everybody's name in a hat and pick one out with your eyes closed, honestly. Not a huge fan of super speedway racing. I'm kind of glad we didn't get Monza tonight, because that would have just been a draft fest too. And at least there was some form of craftsmanship, racecraft tonight. But yeah, I don't know. We're just gonna go balls to the wall, see what happens. And if we come home with the steering wheel of the trophy, so be it. That's just super speedway racing.
Scott Zellner coming away top of the board today in the number 1 spot, the number 2 car. And if you have any final comments you'd like to add on this 20th victory, of course, the floor is yours.
Yeah, first and foremost, want to thank Westlake Royal Building Products for coming on this series yet again. They're a fantastic sponsor to this series, and we appreciate everything that they do and support for Highline Racing League. Really thank all my teammates, Scott, Caleb, and Austin. Austin couldn't make it tonight, and Scott and Caleb just were flat fast, just kind of got caught up in other people's stuff, but that's racing. Shout out to my family that watches each and every week, and shout out to you and FTN for putting on the broadcast. It's something that I really look forward to going back and watching, and I can't wait for tomorrow. It's gonna be one good celebration.
And what a win it is, continuing what has been a legacy of success. Win number 20, Scott Zellner. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks, Dave.
With that 20th win on the way, let's speak now to Connor Holden. And quite a surprise that the Swamp Motorsports guys find a way to find the top 3, and they did so tonight with the 81. Connor, P2 from 16th on the grid. Big gains to get here.
Yeah, that was an extremely exhausting wild race. I would say that's the most I could put it.
And you mentioned that we had ourselves a fair share of yellow flags, pit stops galore, and for you anyway, you were up and down the ladder. You finished second. You were as high as first and as low as last. You really did see everything.
Yeah, I mean, the car was fast, and kind of just hold your foot to the floor, hope it sticks, and a lot of the time it did, and then the tires wore it really didn't. Finishing second after wrecking twice, in one of the long run we were 13th, and the cautions fell our way and ended up with a shot there to win. I had the lead, and I didn't do a good job blocking Scott, and it was hard to block all night anyway because you get such a run off the corner, and you take the chance if you block somebody, you wreck. So, but second after all that is a great night.
You mentioned, of course, an amazing performance at the very end. In those final 10, 15 laps, you looked like you had the pace maybe to challenge Zellner. You think if you had a little time, you would have gone out there for the win?
I think if I don't make a mistake off of 2 and go to the bottom, it was one of the corners that I came off the corner and had a run instead of just following them in line for a little bit, and maybe making a better run at it. I had a shot. I just didn't do a good job.
It looks like now, of course, second place, keeping momentum for the Swamp. Next up is the Super Speedway race. It could be Talladega. We don't quite know exactly where it is going to be, but until that point, if you have any final comments you'd like to leave with us, we'd love to hear it.
Well, Swamp Motorsports live, eat, sleeps, and breathes super speedway racing, so that's our bread and butter. Final thoughts. Everybody at Swamp. Ty had a great car tonight. I'm really proud of Ty. DJ couldn't be here, but DJ is coming down to the Swamp for the weekend, gambling and watching racing go-karts and watching monster trucks. Sebi, man, I thought Sebi had it tonight, and he needs an ounce of luck, and once he gets that luck, it's he's not going to stop. And of course, me and Lucas ran around each other all night. That was a lot of fun. I love having Lucas here. He's a breath of fresh air. Ryan had a great run tonight. I'm really happy for Ryan. Josh, Sim, everybody. I love everyone.
And it looks like tonight, a great performance to recap for the 81 crew, gaining from 16th up to 2nd to finish it off. Connor Holden, thank you again for stopping by.
All righty, bud.
Last we'll hear from is the number 23 of Terry Brooks, and Brooks again showing he's got the pace, and he was up there from the beginning. Qualified 20th, but for almost the entirety of this 100-lap feature, he had a shot to go out there and win it, and prove that with the podium finish. Terry, welcome back.
Well, thanks for having me. It's good to be here, especially after such a disappointing race at Bristol with that net code. Some of the craziest stuff I ever seen. Yeah, we had a tough start to the night. You kind of lose the draft, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. Me and Connor were talking about that early in the race. Lost the draft because of some kind of wreck that was happening, and there was nothing you could do. I mean, just click off laps and hope for the best, and finally got some stuff to go our way, and we had a pretty good car.
And it looks like tonight things click not only for you, but notably we saw you and Kenny Brooks running alongside each other for the majority of the night. You guys qualified together, and you were as high as about 5th or 6th with each other. Not something we always see, but tonight seems like for those first 50, 60 laps, you two were rather tethered.
Yeah, he had a really good car. I think he got some damage in one of the wrecks, and it really hurt him, and I hated it for him because he really needs a good run. He tries hard every week, and good teammate, and we try to work on strategies and things to improve the Esquire Express race team, and maybe one day we'll get a win in here, and maybe a top 3 with both of us in it.
And tonight, of course, oh so close to finding that chance. Next week, we're going SuperSpeedway Racing, where it's always unpredictable. But until that point, if you have any final messages you'd like to leave us with, we'd love to hear it.
Just like to thank Westlake coming on board, sponsoring the league, sponsoring our team, ASC for sponsoring my brother, the whole admin group for Highline, y'all for putting on a great broadcast every week. We're very blessed to have y'all come in and do this for us, so we can go back and watch all the wonderful commentary tomorrow or tonight. It's just, we thank everybody that's involved in the league. I think we put on a pretty good show and have a great time doing it every week.
Terry Brooks, 3rd place on the day in the Westlake Chevrolet Camaro, and a great performance to bring this machine back up to the podium. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Tonight proved to be quite the mystery, but we ended up in a familiar setting with a familiar winner. And how's about that? For 3rd place, Terry Brooks, 2nd place, Connor Holden, and of course your winning man in Scott Zellner, the all-time winningest, with now 20 career victories to his name. An unbelievable performance tonight for Zellner, of course, to bring it back to victory lane. He's been waiting oh so long, and he's been strong this season, finally breaking through. With that said, the checkered flag falls on a night of action here live on FTN from the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. You've been watching coverage of the Highline Racing League Westlake Royal Building Products Premier Series. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Congratulations to race winner Scott Zellner for his 20th career victory. We'll be back next week for our SuperSpeedway Racing at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We hope you have a fantastic night.